That's a howler. That's a howler. It's my fault. Call it fugly status. Hello guys, welcome back to the weekly Armchair Sports Talk. This is of course the weekly Steelchair, the only place that brings to you hard-hitting chaos, hard-hitting action, Scottish and Irish banter, sometimes English. Put it this way, it's just wrestling banter with a little twist. Joining me of course is the channel owner. It is Keane. How's it going?
Very good, very good. Always good to talk some WWE, and also look, we're on the road to WrestleMania. So we're a couple of weeks out from the biggest event of the year, obviously in WWE terms. So absolutely delighted to be here.
Absolutely. And based on recent events, how is your thoughts going into WrestleMania?
Well, look, the build-up's actually been quite good on, I suppose, for most of the matches in terms of Lesnar Reigns. I think the build-up to that has been quite good. The moment in MSG the other night as well, that was quite good. Reigns is looking really strong. Going into Mania. So look, all systems go really going into Mania now.
And what do you think about the undercard in terms of like say the mid-card championships, like the Intercontinental title, the US title, maybe even tag titles? What's your point of view like with them at the moment? Do you think they're being used better now, or do you think they're still a bit underwhelming?
Well, look, I think if you look at the Intercontinental title, just for example, I think obviously Ricochet getting that coming into WrestleMania opens the door for like a good maybe multi-man match. I think we probably need something like that. Obviously, you might have to the Giant Battle Royal probably the pre-show one of the nights or night one, night two. But I think with Ricochet winning the title from Sami Zayn, it kind of opens the door now for either Ricochet to have a good spotlight in a one-on-one match, or for me probably do it in a good multi-man match, because I think Ricochet can really, though, if he gets that push that he needs, we can definitely see him making a push going into Mania. And obviously, look, fellow countryman Finn Balor win the United States title as well. That was a good shout as well.
Yeah, exactly. Mentioned by Struan, Balor, Ricochet, and even Dolph Ziggler winning titles in recent weeks. Yeah, we will be touching up on championship change in hands recently. I think the one that really caught me by surprise was definitely NXT. I think it was interesting to put Ziggler in the match, but I didn't think it was right to actually put the title on him. But it was a very good triple threat match. Have you had a chance to watch it yet?
No, I only caught the highlights of the match. Like, I've seen the best bits of the match, and I'll see the ending.
Yeah.
Look, you can look at it from two perspectives. Obviously, like, look, you're going into WrestleMania season. Obviously, Braun Breaker is someone who is, in my eyes, still very green at the moment. I think, look, he's very good. He's promising, young, promising talent, and definitely has a massive future going into, into his career. Mr. Howard, fuck off, Trevor. It's too early for this, man. It's too early for this already. But
could be worse. It could be later.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, on the show, and I'm in full flow. But I think if you look at the Ziggler thing in two ways, you look at it and say, right, look, Breaker is green. Do you really want to give him kind of that brass ring going into WrestleMania? Obviously / NXT Takeover, or think about when you actually think about the way Dolph Ziggler never held the NXT title before. So like if you're looking at kind of building his collection, it's maybe it's good to have the NXT title on someone from the main roster. It might help elevate that title. And obviously Dolph Ziggler is a workhorse as well. Like if you look at his career, like he's a workhorse. An NXT title, I suppose, pre-Vince McMahon taking over NXT, was known as the workhorse brand. Yeah. So like you look at it from that perspective as well. Like if Ziggler can get a good run in NXT and a good run with the title, then look, it could be good. But if they can bring that rivalry to Raw and really if WWE gives them the right amount of time with the rivalry, it can help elevate Tommaso Ciampa. It can help elevate Breaker. And then I suppose if you look at any new superstar coming up from NXT, Dolph Ziggler seems to be that person who kind of is that kind of what's the saying again? It's not guardian. You know what I'm on about? Do you know it's the
he's like that mentor type role.
Yeah, like, remember when Shinsuke Nakamura came off from NXT?
Yeah,
Dolph was there. Dolph was the person who let him in. When Sami Zayn, when Shinsuke came in, obviously Sami Zayn was that person. There was always that kind of gatekeeper. There you go, gatekeeper. So someone who helps elevate young talent. So like for me, Dolph can be that person. He can help elevate Breaker. Obviously, he can help Tommaso Ciampa adapt. I know he has a great career in the Indies and obviously NXT, but he can help him adapt to the life on the main roster and kind of help guide him, because obviously Dolph Ziggler is in the business a long time. So like, look, you can look at it in two ways, but I think if Ziggler can, even if he's a transitional champion, he can make Breakker look good, and make him look like $1 million if they have a one-on-one match.
Yeah, I would like to see the return match at WrestleMania, to be honest. I know it seems like a bit too early, but I doubt they'll do it. But I actually think it actually has the cusp of it being a good Mania rematch. You could actually book that same triple threat, similar to what they did in like 2004 when Benoit won the title from Triple H and Shawn Michaels in that triple threat, and they've redone it at Backlash. You could in a way do the exact same thing at WrestleMania. You could just rebook that triple threat, probably have the same outcome. Potentially, you could have the same outcome where Ziggler retains the title, but you could make the champion look stronger, and you can look the challengers make more better as well. But I don't know necessarily how long he's going to get the title. I do agree with Struan. Nice to see you, mate, about Ziggler holding the belt for a while. I don't think he'll hold it for too long. I think maybe a couple of months or so, and then he'll just hand it over. But like you said, it's all about elevation. Who are you going to actually choose? There isn't many other than Breakker that actually is like legitimate, can just walk in and just take the title off him. Because Ciampa, there's no point. Cause, Ciampa's already held it too many. He's held it a few times already, and he's already great with the title, but he's never really been pushed in a role as a.
I think he's ready. I think what they need to do with him, I think he's like, I know he has his neck problems. He's probably. I think
he needs a Raw SmackDown.
I think Raw or SmackDown would be a good place for him. I think obviously as well, Pete Dunne for NXT champion, like
I'd support that. He hasn't been used well since he went from NXT UK to NXT. I don't think he's actually done that well on that roster at all. I think he's just not been given the right level of push. Even when they turned him heel, it hasn't done him any justice. I think they need to do something with him. But that's just for me looking in. Yeah,
definitely. I think Pete Dunne, there is room to maybe kind of elevate him on NXT. I think if Triple H was still there and in charge, Shawn Michaels, he definitely would have got more of a push. Obviously, in this current Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard era of NXT, some of the kind of though I suppose the stalwarts of previous NXT,
we're
not going to see much of them,
Especially with William Regal debuting on AEW last night.
Yeah.
Which is another big decision that they could afford to. They just allowed him to go is ridiculous. A mind like that, there's so many adjectives I can think of to describe it, but the obvious one is delusion from a writing perspective to let him go.
Yeah, I agree.
Touching on about the terms like Raw and SmackDown, obviously I did watch Raw. I'll be waiting for SmackDown. I think SmackDown's going to be very interesting this week. I'll be surprised if Lesnar shows. If not, Lesnar will be there next week. But just looking at Raw, seems to be booking-wise, it is picking up a little bit. It's not particularly great at the moment. Raw is having its reliance on like the women's division right now to elevate it, and I'm like, that just sums up how far creative has not done well. But the Intercontinental title change has certainly been reflective, and so is the US title. They've been great for both shows lately. Like, which champion do you think is going to have the better run into WrestleMania?
I think Ricochet probably, because I think obviously Balor, not unless they bring back Demon Balor for Mania for like him and Damian Priest. Obviously, I think they're going to run it back at WrestleMania, aren't they? So like,
yeah,
I think Damian Priest will probably beat him at Mania to kind of cement him as a top heel. I think that's what they're going to do. Like, Balor's only going to be a transitional champion, I feel. I think, he's in that kind of role now as well, where he's kind of that veteran kind of ish role where, they're going to have him be the kind of that gatekeeper almost to help elevate younger talent.
Yeah.
I think, so Vince, I've read a report there like a couple of weeks ago that Vince wants him to be that kind of person who helps elevate younger talent. So I think probably, Balor is going to be a transitional champion. But I think Ricochet is going to look strong going into Mania. I think he's going to have a good run with the title now. I think obviously depending who they pair Ricochet up with, I don't know what they're going to do. I just hope like is Baron Corbin versus Drew McIntyre booked yet? By any chance, is that booked yet?
I don't think so, but it is looking like it.
Like
from what I can see, there isn't much, but I think he is going to get booked anyway.
That match is going to get booked, even though it's a waste of Drew, but that's another story for another day. Like you could even like who do you book Ricochet with? Like there's obviously good. There is good people on SmackDown, like obviously if Sami Zayn wasn't obviously having that feud with Johnny Knoxville, you could have done that. You could have done Sami versus Ricochet at WrestleMania and given them 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Would have been a great match.
Absolutely.
I think that obviously would have been good. But I think if you look at, I think it'll be a multi-man. It'll be a multi-man match for the belt. I don't think this close to Mania they could build a meaningful feud that we can all get invested in. Like,
yes,
there usually is kind of like a Money in the Bank or a multi-man match of some sort. So a story, Doug. There is always like a multi-man match at Mania. So I think, look, we have the United States title. That's going to be Balor, Damian Priest. So I think with Ricochet, it's probably going to be a multi-man match. Like, remember 32 when they, in the last 2-3 weeks before Mania, they booked the ladder match for the United States title. I think they should get the Continental title this year.
I'd be all right with that. I'm looking now. Night 1's actually night 2 at the moment is completely stacked. But night 1 is currently Flair versus Rousey, Lynch versus Bianca Belair. So both women's title matches are on night 1. The Mysterios versus Miz and Logan Paul. I'll be sleeping through that one. And Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin is confirmed for night 1. The only match that's yet to be confirmed for a date is RK Bro versus their opponent. That's not been confirmed yet. Night 2, obviously, it's Reigns versus Lesnar. The Triple Threat Women's Tag Title match, Knoxville versus Zayn, McAfee versus Theory, and Edge versus Styles.
You'll have to hit the Owens Austin. I think that'll probably be night 1 as well. I know it's not confirmed.
That's just going to be a segment,
It's going to be fight, like, so.
Yeah, that'll be night 1. Because you can't have that on night 2, because that'll completely overrule your title match.
That will kill the main event if you do that night 2.
Yeah, unless it was the opener. And it builds for the show. Like, this is the start and this is the bar to raise. But mind you, it would still kill it because it's Steve Austin. There's so much to lose tonight for them. Hello, Kai. Good to see you. I don't know what your score is, but I know you'll be watching the West Ham game. He's a West Ham fan.
Yeah, West Ham playing Seville today, aren't they?
Yeah. Last time I checked, it was 0-0, but I don't know if anyone scored. But if you win that, mate, fair play, because it's not an easy fixture.
West Ham win that, probably win the Europa League. I'd say
1-0. 1-0 Sevilla.
1-0 down. Ooh, Sevilla are good, though, to be fair.
Yeah, they are a good side. I've got them to draw 2-2 tonight, funnily enough. Yeah. But it is circumstantial with going into WrestleMania that booking's only starting to pick up now, but the one booking I think has actually been superb recently, and I'm hoping it continues, is the world title scene.
Yeah, I think
so far booking has been excellent.
Lesnar and Reigns been very good. I think Brock's been a revelation on the mic. He really has. I think Brock's been very good, and you're just thinking, did he really need him in all these years? Like, Heyman's been fantastic as an advocate for Brock, or the special counsel for Roman, but like, it's Brock's been a breath of fresh air. I think Heyman's done really well. Does really elevate himself as well, kind of as the special counsel. Roman Reigns is looking so strong as a heel. Like, for me, I'm looking at this title run. I'm thinking, who can take the title off him? Like, it's not who, but how do they do it? Like, because he's been booked so strong as a heel. You're just thinking now at this point,
you have to screw him over.
Like, but even at that, right? He's such a big star right now, right? Not unless you have a part-timer come back and do it, because I think he's beaten Lesnar at Mania, right? He's beaten Lesnar. Lesnar's going back into a part-time schedule after this, 100%. Roman Reigns he's unifying the title. Like, the only other person I can see if they what they could do
Say
I know I'm
it.
looking so far into the kind of abyss right now, right?
Say it.
But
You say
if
the
they could
name.
let me finish. Let me finish. What they could do is they could build Rollins for a year
Oh.
as a face, build Rollins up for a whole year. The fact Roman hasn't beaten him, and we did get that match at Rumble. Rollins wins next year Rumble, and then he beats Roman at Mania. I'd be happy Roman keep the title for another year if you have a build with Seth Rollins. Like if you build Rollins up the way the year he was built up before the Lesnar match. If you've done it that way, I think that would be a great book, and they'd be good long-term bookings. We do, like in the last 15 years, apart from Rock Cena, right? Because that was a match set a year in the time, right? When have we actually seen long-term booking pay off? Really?
Not efficiently enough in terms of long-term booking. Not efficiently. Although to be fair,
fast track that by 6 months and get Rollins to beat him at SummerSlam as well. I think that's a possibility.
Yeah. The only thing is though is you're not going to get Rollins versus Reigns next year because obviously greatness can only happen one way, and that's obviously when I run the show. When I'm around, things happen, and that's going to happen especially.
Yeah.
Just come out in the comments and say hello to Niall and hello Maisie. Hope you're good. And we're used to that when we had David Moyes, so we know too well. Yeah. But you're still a decent side. You're up against a strong side, though, Kai. I am looking at perspective, and I'm thinking WrestleMania is literally less than a month away. Not like it's so close. And I know we're looking forward to it, and we do have some updates about. I do have 1 or 2 updates for WrestleMania, guys, that you're going to like, and that'll be next week's show. I've not told Keane yet, but he's going to like this. True, and I'm a little worried for Seth's Mania.
I'm not.
Because I think you're going to see on night 1, Seth Rollins has a little bit of fun. Then night 2, Seth Rollins has even more fun. I think Seth will be involved in both WrestleMania nights.
I think Seth Rollins has an open challenge, and a certain new signing answers that open challenge.
You read my mind, boy. You read my mind. Mr. Rhodes himself.
Yeah.
Which is good as well, considering how it's going to work. Because it means if you're going to do that, then only one of them's getting booked as babyface. And it ain't going to be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Because you just can't now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Rhodes versus Rollins. I really do. I think, look, there's been talk this week. I've been reading a couple of articles, and obviously they're saying Rhodes' contract situation at the moment is hit a bit of a snag. But WWE kind of want to get it done as soon as possible, so they can either A, book him for Mania, or B, book him for the night after Mania. So, look, to be fair, for me, I want to see Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Give him 20 to 30 minutes and let him tear it down.
Aye, same here. I think it'd be a good mid-card match. I think realistically it would be mid-card because, to be fair, the likelihood of Cody Rhodes being main event is just unlikely, especially after how things ended last time. You're not going to see him in a main event unless he gets really on Vince's good side. Although, to be fair, we've seen that before. It can happen. What's Struan saying? What is Struan saying? I'd happily see Rollins and Owens versus RK Bro at some point as well. Good match. That would actually be a good match. There's only one thing wrong with it. RK Bro's going to turn on each other at WrestleMania. I do see it happening at WrestleMania. I do see that heel turn. I do see Riddle turning on Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
Whoa, wait, what? You see Riddle turning?
I think Riddle will do it, yeah.
I
know I originally said Randy Orton.
Randy Orton is snapping and giving him an RKO. That's happening. I don't see Riddle turn at all.
I know I said to you originally, I see Randy Orton doing it. But in recent weeks, I look at the way they're booking him, and they're booking him in all defensive Riddle, calling him his best friend, all that. I think Riddle will actually feel offended. I think he'll get offended by it in a way, they'll book it to that point where at WrestleMania, he'll basically do a Shawn Michaels on Marty Jannetty. He'll RKO Randy Orton in the middle of the ring and walk out. And then whoever their opponent is, probably going to be the Street Profits. They'll walk out as world tag team champions.
Yeah, could do it. I don't know. I just see Randy Orton snapping really on Riddle. I don't see any other way. But to be fair, you could book a good tween of Randy Orton as well, where look, he's not a face. You could do that. Like, look, it's been done before. It can be done again. I don't know. It'd be a great swerve. It'd be a great swerve if Riddle, if it's done properly, if Riddle just snaps and so kind of, drops the whole stoner gimmick, then look.
I'll be right. I'll be right on your WhatsApp if he turns heel. I'll be like, I called it.
Yeah,
March 10th.
But I'm just saying this now, right? If he drops turns heel, drops the whole stoner gimmick, and just saying it now, an MMA gimmick because he's a former UFC fighter.
Yep.
You could do something with that. You really could.
You could potentially do Riddle winning Money in the Bank, Riddle cashing in, potentially someone at SummerSlam as a heel with that gimmick. You could. I think it'd be a bit early to give him the world title this year. But if he gets a lot of good heat going, you could do it. But that's way in the future. I don't see it happening. But I think if they do book it, though, they could potentially book Riddle as a good world champion because he's got the look. He's got the look for it. He is good in the ring. And contrary to what some people think, I don't know how they don't think it, he's very good on the mic.
Yeah, he's decent on the mic. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I do think he is running where Finn on Raw. I do think he needs to go to SmackDown in the Superstar Shake-Up. I do think he needs to go to SmackDown.
Yeah, it depends what's going to happen with that draft and Superstar Shake-Up now, because obviously, like, if you unify the world titles, not unless you do what the old Undisputed title was in 2002, where there's one world champion between two brands, could do that. But the problem with that is
booking main events.
Booking main events is going to be a problem, not unless you really have a good mid card. Like, even though we could have a good mid card, and it could, to be fair, one world title could actually help elevate the importance of the United States and the Intercontinental title. But again, the problem is you're going to be packing out B level pay per views. Is there going to be enough time? Like, obviously for the shows like the WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, your Royal Rumble, you're going to have enough time to book all that, because they're like 4, 5, 6 hour shows. Like, but thing about it is, if you're going to, like, let's say, I don't know, what's a B level pay per view at the moment? Like
a B level pay per view, I would honestly say WrestleMania Backlash. Yeah,
Backlash, or I don't know. Did they change? Did they keep?
I think even TLC. I think even TLC's B level. Hell in a Cell's Hell in a Cell's C grade.
Yeah,
they've ruined it. They've ruined it.
I think by giving it a pay per view, they killed the novelty of a Hell in a Cell match. To be fair, I think the Hell in a Cell matches when they were only at a big 4 pay per view were so much better. And then making it red as well. Like, I don't know.
I know, like, they've completely taken the mystique away. Like, the original is so much better. Now it's just
even the current Elimination Chamber, like, it's there's not the same.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't like the whole. They've made it more so you can climb on it and it's safer to stand on. No, I like the fact when you used to climb on it, there was a fear of falling through it.
And there was chain on the floor as well. Like, it was proper steel on the floor. Now it's padding. Like, it's obviously, like, it's a new PG product, and it's not like the old ones. But look, what can you do?
You would totally not see. You would totally not see that in AEW. It would be a full-on cage.
Yeah.
Although they've yet to actually book a cage match, which is mental. 2 years running, I've not seen a single cage. Embarrassing. Yeah, I get to see a dog collar match. I'm not interested in seeing someone's kinks. But speaking of that, though, in contrast, because I know for a fact, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm not having this.
She's out she's literally out the door getting some fresh air right now.
We used to be friends. We used to be friends. How can you say this? I'm all right. Feel better. Hopefully. I'm only kidding. Feel better soon, but it's not up the Reigns. It's fuck Roman Reigns. You got to do it properly. None of that head of the table crap. We're not having this.
Find the head at the table anyway, but that's another story.
Aye, the breakfast table. He didn't even say no.
Anyway, go on, move on.
I was actually going to ask, because obviously I know Paige Van Zant is obviously going to AEW, and that's something that's caught your interest. Is there any female talent, bar obviously the usual suspects, that has caught your eye recently, and who you would like to see have a good, strong showing at WrestleMania?
Rhea Ripley, I thought she was amazing in the chamber match. I thought, she was very good in the chamber match. I think, look, the multi-women tag match at WrestleMania, though, I think Rhea Ripley should shine there. Liv Morgan as well. I think Liv Morgan has been a fresh air in this last kind of 3-4 months. Obviously, look, being Irish, Becky is just, she is like, she's going to be the GOAT women's wrestler ever. I'm just saying it now. Like, she's a women's wrestler who sells pay-per-views. She's fucking knocking on the window. She's going to, Becky Lynch is going to be the GOAT of women's wrestlers. Now, obviously, you have Trish Stratus and Lita and stuff like that. Charlotte Flair, no way. She's never going to be the GOAT. I don't care. Becky Lynch is going to be the GOAT women's wrestler. I'm saying it now. I'm calling it now. Becky Lynch is going to be the GOAT because she's the one who sells pay-per-views. She has that aura. She's good in the ring. She has everything. Like Becky Lynch is good in the ring. She has the good character. She's good in the mic. Like, Becky Lynch is the full package. If you're talking about what you want, to be the lead women's wrestler, like, she's shown, she's elevating it each time, like, whether she's a face or a heel, and look, in the contrary to Ric Flair, massive respect to Ric Flair, 16-time world champion, one of the greatest of all time, but Becky Lynch is the man now, Rick, and you need to kind of leave that go.
Well, to be fair, he's still trying to claim Space Mountain's real, but Space Mountain's already done and dusted. What can I say? And obviously, Charlotte Flair, the only thing that's good about you is when the show closes and you've not been on it. Shout out to William Bryant. If you watched the first show of the Weekly Steelchair podcast, he was the first guest. He's a Flair stan. I don't know why he needs help. He needs help. And I will not, and I repeat, I will not take that comment back. He needs help. He's a Flair stan. It's probably because he supports Arsenal, and obviously Flair's the only thing that wins championships. I suppose he has to watch someone win championships rather than his football club. I can't say much. I suppose I can't say much, but I am looking at it and I'm thinking purely on a WrestleMania sense. I do agree about Morgan. I do agree about Ripley. I can't comment about the Scottish talent because only 2 of them are on there and they both suck, which is offensive. But it's true. But is there anybody that you would actually consider turning heel and anybody you would consider babyface? If you had to make a role change, either, like, say for example on the night after WrestleMania or even on the night, is there anybody you consider?
Heel turn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, something's have to hit me. Oh my God. I know I just talked about Becky Lynch earlier and something's have to hit my head. Because you do Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch double turn at Mania.
Bianca turns heel and Becky turns face.
Yeah, Becky refuses to tap out. After taking multiple punish with Bianca's hair, Bianca puts her in a submission, because I know Becky's a submission specialist, but Bianca puts her in a submission, kind of like Bret Austin. And then Becky's a big star already. Do you imagine you'd done that? That
would actually be very interesting, especially from a booking sense as well.
Because Bianca can't beat Becky Lynch. Think about this for a second. Becky Lynch has her number. And then you do the double turn. Becky Lynch just refuses to tap out.
Yeah. And in this sense,
double turn.
Yeah.
That sets up a big rematch at SummerSlam. If you book it right, that sets up a huge rematch 1 year later.
And that is what we're waiting on. The proper rematch. The proper rematch for me can't be WrestleMania. I agree with you. The proper rematch must be SummerSlam. The redemption, redemption event.
SummerSlam. You go 1-1. You do the double turn at Mania, and then
I'll raise you. I'll raise you. Double turn at WrestleMania. Go to the pay-per-view. Bianca Belair wins by low blow. Retains her title, but Becky Lynch wins by disqualification.
At SummerSlam?
At SummerSlam.
But that's inconclusive then.
Yeah. Which then carries on. Because you could effectively carry on that a little bit longer, extending you've got the 1-1. So you've got the 20-second squash match of Belair. You've then got the double turn at WrestleMania where Belair wins the title. And then you've got the low blow, but Becky Lynch still wins but doesn't get her title. You could then, for the first time in a long time, actually have a title defense at Survivor Series. You could carry it into Survivor Series, or you could have it done properly in Hell in a Cell. Yeah. You could have the rubber match in either Hell in a Cell or Survivor Series.
Yeah, you could do that. I just think.
I like it. I do like what you're thinking though.
I think if you'd done the double turn at Mania and then you went down the route with something like Bianca is a bit of a, let's say, just refuses to give the rematch or whatever. You give Becky some time out, really. Let's say Belair attacks her again the next night on the next night in Raw, gets nuclear heat, and then Becky misses a while. Bianca then retains the title a couple of times in then a couple of months, and then obviously the 4 or 5 week lead up to SummerSlam, Bianca comes out because Bianca is good in the mic. Bianca is giving a good promo. Think about as well the RK Bro Street Profits thing, right? This could tie in with this. I'm just saying, right? This could tie in with this, right? You could tie it into the effect that Street Profits are healed because they got a cheap win because the RK Bro turn, right? Mm-hmm. And then also Bianca has the title. You can have a heel faction there. Then obviously, that's running well for a couple of months. And then obviously Belair is saying, obviously, no one can beat me. We're so strong. They're tag team champions. I'm women's champion. I'm just spitballing. Just spitballing here.
No, Rollins, keep going. I'm liking this.
Seth's going to be a face, isn't he? Seth's going to be a face.
Absolutely.
He might need a tag team partner.
He'll kick Owens to the curb in the right way because all the heat he's getting with Texas, you cannot have him as a babyface now. Like, there's no going back. You have to keep him as a heel, which is good because he's better as a heel than a babyface. So Rollins, realistically, against Street Profits, you're going to need somebody who fits well with Rollins' style as well, because obviously they're high flyers. He's an all-round technician. You can't have AJ Styles. You could have a potential giant involved, not an overly sized giant, but you could have a giant type wrestler involved. Someone with a bigger frame has an impact with Rollins. Not going to be Reigns. You can't have Reigns because he's going to still be a heel. You could have a very well worked heavyweight against these guys that matches the likes of Montez Ford. You could do that.
Breaker.
Yeah. I think I would go Rollins Breaker tag team.
Yeah, that'd be good.
If you book it right, you could have that. Yeah, I don't think Ciampa works. Ciampa is so much better as a heel
and DIY as well. Like, yeah, obviously, yeah, that makes sense. Well.
Yeah, we've literally just covered your potential SummerSlam as well, guys. So there we go. We've given you some very interesting rumours, very interesting superstitions. The Weekly Steelchair podcast does not have any representation to WWE. We just cause carnage. We just cause chaos. We speak our own opinions, report shit, and we always take the piss out of people. We're basically DX Mark III. What can I say? But there is one final question I do have for you. And this is one I really do ask of importance. As we close the show, because obviously Devil's Advocate is the premier Monday Night show for the Weekly Armchair, which is back in 15 minutes. Our closing show, funnily enough, is premieres. This is the final question. April 1st, Hall of Fame. Undertaker obviously is the main inclusion. Inducted by Vince McMahon.
Undertaker getting Hall of Fame, the waterworks, you know yourself.
Yep. He's going to be the main one. But they seem to be going Undertaker feuds for inclusion. They've just included Big Van Vader very long overdue.
Yeah.
And they've now, according to reports, Psycho Sid is going to be the other inductee. So what is your overall thoughts on that trifecta? As it's overshadowed, I think they should have given Taker as a sole Hall of Fame, in my opinion. No one else included. I think they should have done it next year. Like similar to Andre the Giant, he was the first inductee. You cannot have anyone else with Giant because he's too big. But just overall, what's your thoughts on those three going in as a group? It seems to be we're bringing back Taker's rivals.
Yeah, it's look, it's great to see Psycho Sid and obviously Vader getting a Hall of Fame induction. Look, they're well overdue. It's great to see someone learning something every day. It's absolutely great. And Maisie, look, we'd love to have you on the United show as well, Devil's Advocate as well. You do a fantastic job over there.
Absolutely.
So look, very impressed with the Dharma Shet interview recently as well. That was top class. So
we're always scouting for signatures. We're always trying to sign top talent.
We always are. Well, yeah, like, look, I think Psycho Sid and Vader is obviously, look, two great inductions. Well, I think with the Hall of Fame, you're going to have to, like, how long usually? It's usually like an hour or something, isn't it? Like
an hour and a half.
They're going to have to make this Hall of Fame ceremony, I'd say 2 and a bit hours, because you're going to have to give Taker at least 45 minutes to an hour for his induction. You're going to have to give that because, like the whole speech, talk about his career, like, there's so many important things you talk about. And obviously, like, look, Undertaker is someone who we all grew up watching. He deserves the Hall of Fame. He's Mr. Hall of Fame for me. Like,
yeah,
Mr.
Shawn Michaels.
I know Shawn Michaels is Mr. Hall of Fame, Mr. WrestleMania, but
Taker's definitely Mr. Hall of Fame for me.
He's Mr. WWE for me. Like, he literally is. It's mad. It's the most Irish thing ever, and any Irish person watching this will
He's
know.
the franchise.
Right. Every Irish person will know this, right? You talk to your father, your grandfather, your uncles, your aunts, nannies, mothers, whoever it may be. You talk to all them people, and you're on about watching wrestling. It's like, any plans to weekend? Oh, geez, no. This Sunday, I'm not going out Saturday. WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, or something is on, or SummerSlam, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And what's the one question you get asked by any Irish mother, father, granddad, or nanny? What do you think the question is? Yeah, what question we get asked?
Is the Undertaker still there?
He's like, is that Undertaker still wrestling?
I figured as much.
It's the most Irish thing ever. It's like, is the Undertaker still going? I remember my nanny brought me to SmackDown in it's now the 3 Arena. It was called the O2, the Point, in Dublin, back in 2006.
Nice, good event, good venue. I remember watching a few SmackDowns.
Survivor Series tour. I remember the main event was Undertaker and Mr. Kennedy in a street fight. That was the main event. Funnily enough, JBL was retired at the time. JBL came out half time and caught a promo. We were all cheering JBL, and he came out. Fuck me! Within about 2 minutes, we were booing JBL. JBL was just trashing Ireland, trashing everything. But anyway, I'm going off topic. But like the Undertaker, like if you're looking at the events I went to as a child, growing up watching WWE, he deserves his Hall of Fame. Like The Rock is my favorite of all time because The Rock really was the first person who got me into wrestling. Like, The Rock's my favorite. But if you're looking at someone who, after The Rock left, you talk about longevity and you talk about someone who any character they had, any the gimmick and thrived in it, Undertaker was that. He was so versatile. Yeah. And his match quality as well. Like, if you're looking at 2000s, from 2002 onwards, Undertaker's match quality was just exceptional. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he had that little time when he came back from the injury in 2000 when it was a bit,
shaky.
Shaky. Yeah. But then when he kind of, went into the big evil gimmick, he really, really drove on. So yeah, look,
he lost a lot. We lost a lot of weight as well. I think he lost. I think he lost 30-40 pounds. He just got all that excess weight off. He got lighter, more nimble, but he was just so much better ring work, and he got to bring in more stuff because obviously at that point he was getting more and more involved in like MMA and UFC. He was one of the first ones to get really involved from inside WWE, whereas coming from WWE going out to he was more involved. He was adding more to his game, and it was great to see. So yeah, totally, man. It was.
I think
I honestly agree with you.
A whole podcast series. I think we're going to have to do a whole podcast just on The Undertaker. I think we're going to have to review his career. We're going to have, like, it may be a couple of hours. No, do you know what I'm going to do? And I'm going to promise this to the viewers right now. I'm going to drop this on Reece. We're going to do a 2-part special on Undertaker's career. And we're going to do that not next week, but we're going to do it the week after next.
Yes, I fully support that. I run this damn bitch show, and I fully support that. I'm all for it. If anybody in the live chat wants to get involved, if anyone wants to get involved in this, by all means, I only recommend you go on YouTube, you type in The Undertaker, watch some of his matches. I will bring out a list of matches I expect viewers to have watched, or at least can comment on. I expect you to discuss Survivor Series 1990. I expect the first casket match versus Kamala. I expect the first match with Bret Hart at the Royal Rumble in 96, the Buried Alive match, the Boiler Room Brawl, the WrestleMania 12 versus Diesel, probably the one WrestleMania the WrestleMania match where it really started for him, where he finally got to show against a big guy who could work. And obviously from 97 onwards, where it really became, okay, this guy is actually the franchise. Not John Cena. We can't see shite.
Hey, whoa.
Hey, you can back
down, Junior. Calm down, Junior.
You can back him all you want, but there's only one real franchise, and it's not a guy that wears denim shorts. It's a guy that wears singlets and says he'll kill you and steal your soul. What can I say? That's a franchise. But like I said, guys, tonight isn't a usual 2-hour masterclass. It's a 40-minute plus masterclass, because obviously we are now 8 minutes away from Devil's Advocate returning to the weekly armchair. It has been a long time coming. It's something Keane is proud of. It is his quote-unquote is baby, as you would. How excited are you that your show's back on tonight? How excited are you? Just an off-topic conversation.
Just great to see the guys obviously back doing what they like, doing what they love. Great to see obviously Greg back hosting. Great to see Rach back in the channel. Obviously yourself as well, all talking about United. And it's going to be great to be watching from afar. And it'd be great for me just to tune in at 8 o'clock.
Absolutely. 8 p.m. UK time. If you're, just in case anybody's like from the likes of America that's watching, obviously you never know where you're watching from, so you've got to make it easier. 8 p.m. UK time, of course. The Weekly Armchair Sports Talk presents Devil's Advocate again. Back where it belongs. Causing carnage. Or as I call it, happy days. But of course, this has been the Weekly Steelchair podcast. This has been monumental. This has been fun. It has been one of a kind. Have a good night, folks. And as always, if you need any inspiration on having fun, just watch this video. Good night.